Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, and it's still a little bit chilly here in the villages in Florida, but I can imagine Fred and Anka are probably a little bit chillier, and anybody else who might be living outside the Florida area might be a little chilly. Um, but we're learning today. Mary, did you know we are in the middle of our Christmas edition classes? And you're going to like me today because we don't have any extra chords.
Oh,
So,
I love it.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo! Oh, I know, Joe. I'm sorry. There just aren't any. It wasn't written with any. There's none to put in. What do we know about Mary Did You Know? Well, in 1984, the lyrics were actually written by Mark Lowry, and then the music was added 7 years later in 1991 by Buddy Green. Now, originally, this was recorded by Michael English in 1991. Now, you got to remember these three. Up here comes Gail. These three guys were all in, or I should say, two of the guys, English and Lowry, were members of the Gaither Vocal Band, and Green was touring with them. So they were all together on tour. And they got together and did this wonderful song. And it did reach number 6 on the CCM, what it must be the Christian Music Magazine's Adult Contemporary chart. Very interesting that there were some religious leaders who poo-pooed the song and didn't think it was worth much because of the non-biblical connotations. I guess there was a pastor that said, why would you ask Mary if she knew any of this stuff? In the Bible, it's perfectly clear that she did know. It's a song. It's a song.
that's the old theology for you.
I know. And then there was another religious leader who says that this is the most sexist song ever written in the Christian market because they're treating Mary like a child because, of course, she knew. And why would you ask her 17 times if she knew? You wouldn't ask Abraham 17 times if he knew he was the father of all the nations.
Jesus
um,
asked Peter 3 times.
the lyric guy, Mark Lowry. He said he wrote this as if he was having a cup of coffee with Mary, the mother of Jesus, and he wanted to know. These were questions that he would ask her. What was it like raising Jesus? What was it like giving birth to our Lord? These kind of things. So that's how the song actually came about. Was he was pretending to have, what would it be like if I was having coffee with Mary, the mother of Jesus? So that's how the song actually came about. Now,
At least
who
you know we
else?
never run out of wine.
Oh, this is true. Yes, that's another good question. It was also recorded by Kenny Rogers and Winona Judd as a duet in 1996. Then Clay Aiken did it in 2004. CeeLo Green did it in 2012. The one we're most familiar with is Pentatonics in 2014. And that song debuted, it debuted then at number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100. It also charted on Billboard when it was done in 2015 by Jordan Smith when she was on The Voice.
Oh,
So, yeah, so lots of good people who recorded Mary Did You Know.
mhm.
Um, I am going to perk you up with a little bit of an introduction here, something that's very easy and you can all do it. And it's a fun way to start the song and it's a fun way to end the song. But let's go over the roadmap first so you know where we're going. Mary Did You Know is a 3-pager, and I like to spread mine out because turning pages does make a difference, makes it a little hard. So follow the verses. It's going to tell you exactly where you need to go. The first verse takes you all the way, first page, second page to the bottom where you have a first ending and some dots. And the dots are 2 dots, a thin line and a thick line, and they send you back to the beginning of the song, but not in the middle of the measure, because as you can see, the song actually starts on beat 3. They will never put dots in the middle of a measure because it'll confuse you as to where the measures actually are. So the pickup notes are in the first ending, and those are the same notes that you see at the beginning of the song.
Mhm.
So you don't play those twice. You play them once, go back to the dots, and then do verse 2. Verse 2, you'll go all the way to the end of line 4 on the second page. Then you're going to jump down to the second ending. You're going to skip that first ending. And I put a little 2 at the end of line 4. And if you want to put a little arrow to the second ending,
Oh,
that's just an easy way to know that the second time you're going to the second ending. Now, the second ending is an open bracket, which means you keep going. The middle part of the song, the bridge, is on page 3. The blind will see, the deaf will hear. And that goes to the end of line 4. And then you have 2 thin lines, and then you have also some instructions. D, S, Al, coda. All right, so DS means go back to the silly sign. Where's the silly sign?
first page.
Same place as the dots on the first page, because you're going back to pick up the third verse. And as you can see, there's your 4 pickup notes again. Mary, did you? And you go back to the silly sign or the dots. Now you want to take a color and make that a different color than you used for the 1. Like if you used yellow for 1 and the dots, then you might want to use green for the DSL coda. Go back to the silly sign. Now, what are you looking for? You're looking for the 2 coda sign. Remember, codas only send you forwards. Only send you forward. You never go backwards to a coda. So now we're going to do verse 3, all of page 1, most of page 2. Now, the 2 coda sign actually is in the middle of line 4. So you might want to make that a different color. Remember, if you wanted to put an arrow going forward, because codas only send you forward. Coda means tail, and it is always the final ending. So whatever color you make the 2 coda, make the same color for the coda, which is the last line of the song.
Right.
It's not too hard. It's not too hard, but you just have to know exactly where you're going so that you don't lose your place. Or it could become the song that never ends and you just play it and play it and play it, which is not a bad thing either because it's a fun song to play. Now, that being said, because you're not singing the song, you're playing the song, how are you going to express all these beautiful lyrics without being boring and using the same sound for every single verse? I just told you the answer. Change sounds. You're going to have to reach into your arranging toolkit and you are going to want to do something a little different at each part of the song. So you can change sounds by either going from top keyboard to bottom keyboard. You can also use your harmony to change up the sound, either a duet or an AOC. That will add something to your arrangement. You can also add a golden harp. You can add a golden harp to part of your song. Now, what does a golden harp actually do? It's actually an arpeggiator, and it follows the chord of the song. So if you're on a nice background, if you put on a golden harp, it's right now, can you hear it? It's going up and down.
That's pretty.
Now you also have some other patterns. Sometimes you have something called a skip pattern. Or you could go up only. Or you could go down only. Or you could go as a virtuoso. So before you actually put on your golden harp, you want to test out the ones, here comes Brenda. You're going to want to test the different patterns to see which pattern would you like to use. and you might change it up in midstream and say, you know what, I don't like that Golden Harp. But if you've tested it out before you actually put it on and have it ready to go, have your pattern ready to go so that when you touch your Golden Harp, it will come up to the one that you want. And then just turn it off so it's ready to go when you do turn it on. Okay, now it was originally done at 53 beats a minute. 53 beats a minute. But it was actually played at 106, according to our music. So the background, you want it to go nice and slow. Nice and slow. You're having coffee with Mary after all. This is what you're doing, is you're just asking her these questions. And you're not playing it at 53. You're playing it, I believe. Yeah, you're playing it at double time. So you're going to have those 4/8 notes are going to be in the space of one beat. Okay, so you're going to actually be playing it in double time. If you're watching green, 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 you're going to count it double. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just count it double. Okay.
Dawn,
Yes.
what does registration 8 mean?
Oh, ignore those. If you go to those are for, you have to remember that Hal Leonard publishes books for all instruments, including digital pianos, keyboards, the Casios, the other organs, Rolands, Wurlitzers, whatever else is out there. If you go to the end of your book,
I don't have a book.
oh, you will. If you go to the end of your book, all these books give you a registration guide. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it's just sets of sounds. See, now you don't really need to use that. You know why? You have rhythm presets. Lowry's already done all that for you. And a lot of times, well, a registration is nothing more than what sounds are you using for that song. And so they're going to give you some suggestions in the back of the book. But when you're on a beautiful Lowry, it's already giving you rhythm presets that are fabulous. And then don't forget, you also have your categories. And if you're playing Christmas music, you've got a holiday category and you've got a bells category that are marvelous. And so use those to your advantage. I'm just using rhythm presets with the ones that I'm on. And yes, every single one of the backgrounds I'm using today are at 53, but I'm playing them in double time. Now, if you're using worship guitar or guitars 4/4, you're probably going to want to double that number to 106 and play it. Why do I look like I just got out of bed? My goodness. You probably want to play that at 106 because that's going to give you a little bit better. If it's dragging you down, double the tempo and see if it works. If it doesn't work at either one, scrap it and go to a different background and find something that does work. But I think you want to keep it at something that's going to be a little slower.
And then if you use the guitarist or the pianist, you want to kick up the drummer, right?
You always want to kick up the drummer. Yes, the drummer's going to help because it will help to keep the beat. Now, if you want to keep the drummer off, that's okay. But now staying on beat is going to be very difficult. So yes, if you are using anything that's just a guitarist background or a pianist background, and I'm talking about people with the E series instruments, the EZs, the EYs. Now, if you're on a fanfare, and even an EZ10 where you've got presets, only that preset 0 and 1 and 2 are not going to have the drummer. So when you get to preset 3 and up, that will automatically put the drummer in for you. But you've always got your drum's volume that you can use to add that drummer. The drummer is always going to help you with your beat. I love having the drummer on. Very rarely do I play without it. Good questions. Okay, what key are we in here?
I don't know. I gotta find it. A.
D minor?
D minor, yeah.
D minor. D minor is the last chord. The last chord. So,
yeah.
yes, it is in D minor. It was
Yep.
originally written in E flat minor. So, to make it easier for us, they put it down to D minor for easy play. So, it's pretty close to what the original was. I'm going to play it through one time and show you what I did as far as an introduction. And I am using the soft and easy smooth piano 4/4, but it also works on so many other things, and so you really have to try certain different things. On the easy, smooth full band is good. Smooth guitars is very good. Keep trying your different ones and try at 53. If it doesn't work at 53, up it to 106. I think most of them are going to be good at 53, and you play it in the double time. Yes.
Ooh, excuse me.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody was calling my name. I didn't know if I froze up or if you couldn't hear me or what. Okay.
Turn your mic off.
Oh,
Yeah, you need to turn your mic off so
yeah.
you don't.
Just mute.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It's okay. It just scared me. I thought, oh no, what did I do? Okay.
Barbie, turn yours off too.
Pardon?
Turn your mic off too, Barbie.
I did.
Okay.
I turned it back on so I could tell him to shut his off.
Oh, okay, all right. Thanks.
You guys are silly. Okay. All right. But see, what I did at the beginning, and I lied, I did add an extra chord. Okay. So I better tell you what that extra chord is. It's in line 3, page 1, line 3. Make that A an A sus, S-U-S. A sus is a suspended 4th chord, and it's optional, as you can guess, but it's a 3-fingered chord, and it is D, E, A. D, E, A. It's a hanging chord, and it's going to sound like this. And then you're going to resolve it back to the A over Mary Did You Know. So you're going to play the A sus for 2 counts, and then over the D for Mary, put in a box a plain old A. So you're going to go from the A sus to an A. It resolves itself nicely. You're going to do the same thing on page 2. Top of the page, daughters. Make that A, the very first line, an A sus, which is D, E, and A. Dogs, elephants, and alligators. And then beat 3, which is actually in between the notes. Make your A to resolve it back to the A. And that should be it. That should be it. Now, what did I do at the beginning? You can actually start with the chord so you have a beat, or if you kind of know how fast it's going to go anyway, you can start with just a no chord to get the drummer beat, or you can start it all alone on the top. But then it is a little bit of a struggle to get the beat just from going into it. So let's try it this time with a no chord. At least you have a beat here. Now what am I doing? I'm going to play the Mary Did You Know. Then I'm going to copy it with my left hand, but I'm going to play Mary Did You, Mary Did You. And so when I play the no with the first hand, and then that's when I'm going to start. Let's stop those drums for a sec. So I'm going to play Mary Did You Know. See what I'm doing? When I hit the word no, the other hand is going to take off and play. The left hand is going to play it once underneath in this octave and once on top in this octave. And this one's going to play in between. And that's when you start.
Okay.
Okay? The last time you're playing this. It's easy to do. It's just, you just got to figure out how to get that done. The left hand goes here. You're going to play it underneath. Then you're going to play this one again. Then you're going to play it on top. You're just copying the notes. It's a little echo. And if you ever watch pentatonics, which I'm sure you all have, that's how they start. They're all standing in different places. And one sings, Mary, did you, Mary, did you, Mary, did you.
Yeah.
That's how they start it. So that's kind of what we're echoing. We're doing the same thing. We're just doing it on the keys.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So if you want to just do the drums, you can. If you want to do the background already, you play a D minor chord. Do not put on an introduction. This is going to serve as your introduction. Lost my place. And fade out. So you can use that same echo technique. And
Yeah.
all I'm doing is Mary, did you, Mary, did you, Mary, did you, one hand to the other, but this hand is bouncing from the lower octave to the upper octave. And I thought it sounded kind of cool
Like
that way.
That's pretty.
And then fade that out, and that'll just make for a nice ending on that.
That
Did you
was
like
Road
that?
camp was easy. to
Yeah,
follow.
and it is easy. It is easy. You
That
just
was
have to
good,
kind of
John. Now we have to be an acrobat.
no, it's not that hard. It's not.
I know. I know.
And it doesn't matter which octave you're on to start. Just make sure it sounds right. That's a little low. So you might want to start it here.
That's better.
Now I'm on a different preset right now. On this one, it sounded good here. This one is set in a different octave because I'm on a different preset.
Uh-huh.
I really like it.
This one is the soft and easy, easy 4/4, which basically comes up with the same setup. And instead of the smooth piano 4/4, it's the easy 4/4, which is soft and easy with no variation at 53. And then I also did it again on a soft gospel and used fibes and organs on top, which I think was preset 5. And then it has flute on the bottom. So don't be afraid to try different sounds. The presets you have are fabulous. If you're not crazy about those, go into your more and pull up some Christmas sounds. Pull up some bells if that's what you want to use. And then don't forget, you can always add your strings and your flutes to your bells, because that's going to pad your bells. Because what happens with a bell sound? It's going to vibrate and then it's going to die. So if you pad it with a string or a flute, the one sound is going to die, but the string or the flute, which is your organ sounds, are going to carry that sound through. So it's another way to just add some dimension to your bells.
So on kind of a composing question here, when you
Okay.
do the echoing, when you go to the higher echo, I
Uh-huh.
know there's a symbol, you put 8 with a VA afterwards, meaning up an octave. What do they use for when you go down an octave?
Oh. I don't know. That's a very good question. I honestly don't know.
Dawn, you know I'm not crazy about the saxophone sound, but last Tuesday I heard Aaron Boo from the Sound Machine play
Oh,
Mary Do You Know, and it was fabulous.
I'll bet. Yeah. Yeah.
I
No.
don't particularly care for saxophones, but it was really good.
The saxophone is actually one of the harder instruments to get to sound right, because it is the instrument that is the closest to the human voice, the saxophone. So it's hard to really make it sound right, because when you're playing it with the keys, you have to get some of those glides that the sax players can do naturally to make it sound, and think human voice. Think, what would my voice do here? And yeah, saxophone is, I don't usually play a lot of saxophone either, and it's not because I don't like it, it's because it's a harder instrument to really get to sound good. And you have to think like the saxophone player, and you most definitely, if any horn that you're using, or flute, any instrument that would normally be, that you have to blow into, make sure you give the musician a chance to breathe. So at the end of your phrases, see, with a piano or an organ, you can just play straight through. Even with strings, when you have a whole string section, there's no breathing involved. But when you've got a horn player, make sure you at least lift your hand every now and then to give that horn player a breath. You have to think like the horn player that you're using. Okay? Let's do some fingering, and then I'll play it again on a different background on the soft gospel, and we'll see how we like it.
Dawn, can I ask you a question first about that? When you just played it before, when you did the upper keyboard, then the lower keyboard. When you went back, did you go to a different preset, or did you add something?
I just added the duet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't forget you can add your harmonies to change up your sound a little bit. So by adding a duet or an AOC, that's going to change the sound and it's going to be like another preset.
Okay, thanks.
So you don't always have to press your presets, but don't be afraid to do that either. You might just want to press a different preset for the third verse.
Dawn,
Yes.
Robert here. Regarding Joe's question about 8VA,
Mm-hmm.
I have read that 8DB is
Oh,
the
you might be,
indicator
yes.
for going down.
Yeah, for
Yes.
basso, right? For basso?
Probably so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
A is for alto and B is for basso, I guess.
that sounds about right. 8VA.
All right, thanks.
8D. Yeah,
You
okay.
got it.
Thank you. See, I learned stuff today too. And I think at one time I did know that, but because I never use it or I never think I'm using it, I have completely forgotten it. It's probably something I learned in college.
Get your music tuition money back.
Yes. All right, let's do some fingering. Pretty easy, actually. D1, E2, F3, G4, A5. Wow, that doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. D1, A5. Second line, G4, F3, E2, C1, D2, E3, F4, G5. Third line, F4, E3. Check mark. D1, E2, F3, G4, A5. D1, A5. G4, F3, E2, C1, D2, E1 with a circle, F2, G3. Second page, B flat, 5, A4, check mark, A1, C3, I'm sorry, D3, 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 F5. Second line, E4, D3, C2, G1, A2, C4, C4, D5, third line, D5, check mark. The check mark is just remember, that's just a visual to lift your hand, take a breath, move it. A3, B flat 4, A3, G2, F1. Fourth line, A3, G2, F1, A3, 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 B flat 4, first ending A3. Then you want to take a little check mark. Now, if you are changing a sound or going to the lower keyboard, that's where you want to start it, is at the pickup notes. You want to make sure that you change your sound in between the word you and Mary, so that your pickup notes then go straight into the new sound. New sound, new sound. Okay? Don't wait till you get back to the dots to change your sound.
Oh, okay.
Okay? You don't want to play Mary Did You, and then when you get to the word no, have it be in a completely different sound. So make
Right.
sure you change your sound in the first ending. Right after you play that A for you, change the sound. Or go to the lower, you might want to put an L, lower keyboard, whatever you're doing. Or add duet, whatever you're doing. D1, E3, D1, E2, F3, G4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second ending is A3, check mark. Now, if you're going to add a golden harp, that's where I would do it, right after you play that A for God. If you're going to change a sound or add a harmony, that would be the place you would do it. Again, you want to start that on the A quarter note, the blind. You want that to be the same sound. So The blind. The is with an A1. The top of the third page. D3, D3, D3. D3, E4. F5, E4. E4 at the end of the line. Second line, F5, E4, D3, C2, A1, C2, D3, 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 E4, F5, E4. Check mark at the end of that tied E. The last E of the line is a 1 because it goes to the next phrase. Always use your lyrics for phrasing. E1, the next line is F2, G3, A4, B flat 5, A4. At the end of that tied A, check mark. If you are changing sounds, that's where you want to change it. Before you play those pickup notes, D1, E2, F3, G4, so that it's the same sound when you go back to the beginning. The coda, A2, and then whichever finger gets there first, either a 3 or a 4 on the C sharp, or a 4 or a 5 on the D. Pretty easy on that. And you can slow that down to as slow as you want, and then go back into your echoes. One hand
Dawn,
over the
we
other.
did this. Did we do this last year? Maybe I have this, every note that you just gave and the finger, I already have in the book to the T, exactly as you said.
We've done it before. I just
yeah.
haven't done this. I have not done the intro or the ending.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's new. Christmas songs aren't going to change from year to year, most likely. So when we pull out Christmas songs from year to year, I try my darndest to add something new for those people that had me last year so that I can give you a little something to work on.
It's such a nice add-on.
All right, now I'm on Soft Gospel at 53.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm on Vibes in Oregon.
So beautiful.
Okay. That just adds a nice something
Oh.
extra.
So beautiful. Great, great ending.
Mhm.
Beginning too, but the ending is
Yeah.
nice. It just trails off with that.
It just trails off. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
good.
I hit the fade out button as I started doing my
Yeah.
first one. And then again, it's just one, the left hand, right hand, pop it over, the right hand. It's just hands back and forth, but you're just doing acrobatics with this hand.
Beautiful.
And it's not hard. It just, once you figure out how to do that, you go, oh, wow, that's pretty cool, actually. So hopefully you learned something good with this song today. I like this song. I don't care if it is sexist.
I never gave it a thought.
I know. I never thought of that either.
Sexist.
Pretty funny how the pastors and priests feel that way, But that's okay. That's okay. That they study the Bible, so they know
About
everything
Mary.
that's in
How
it.
could anything but something? Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But it's a beautiful song, and again, it's like if you're having coffee with Mary and you're just asking her, what was it like? My goodness. I mean, that's actually a pretty good question to ask. Yep. Okay, what would you like to do next week?
How about a challenge, sleigh ride?
Oh, you want to do it in this class?
Hard.
This is supposed to be an intermediate class. We can do it.
Oh.
Is that in this book?
Hopefully it's in the
Yeah, it's
book.
on page 170. And,
Okay.
In book 215?
yeah, 215. I got volume 5.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's not in the fourth edition, okay? So
what
I
child
now
is
I
this?
have Sleigh Ride. I do have it. But if
Mhm.
anybody does not have the fifth edition, first of all, do you want to do Sleigh Ride? Is everybody kind of in agreement?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's a very good song. But it is a challenge.
Great.
Okay, am I seeing heads nodding
Do
up
we
and
have
down? We can do Sleigh Ride? Oh, no. Linda doesn't want to do Sleigh Ride.
Can you?
Linda says, okay, we can do
No.
Sleigh.
Understood.
All right, we'll do
Right,
Sleigh
Linda.
Ride. Now, if you do not have, I'm in gallery view now, so I can see all of you pretty much. If you have the fourth edition, or if you don't have this book at all and you need a copy of Sleigh Ride, let me know. Shoot me an email and let me know, and we'll work on Sleigh Ride for next week.
Boy,
Okay.
you don't
Could you
need
play
any
it,
more
or do you have
chords.
enough?
Yeah, I got volume 3 and I don't think it's in here.
Yeah, just shoot me an email and I'll be very happy to send you.
Okay, thank you
Send the Sleigh
again.
Ride. That's
Could you
easy.
play
Just love
one
this one.
time, Dawn? Could you
Pardon?
play it one, or do you have enough time?
I don't have it here, but I
Oh.
do. I mean, this is one that if you play it right, it's gonna sound
This
like
is tricky. So what? That's what we're here for. Yeah.
I can't remember this part. Yeah.
Not bad.
I'll never forget when I first started at Fletcher Music Centers. I worked in a mall that was open, and at Christmas time we were open from like 7 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. And the nights that I had to stay there by myself and play and close the store, there weren't very many customers, so I would sit at the organ and I was bound and determined I was going to learn this song. So I played it over and over and over and over and over. And sometimes that's the best way to learn a hard song, is to just get it under your fingers.
That's a great suggestion, the way that song is.
You got to move about 3 times the speed of light for that song, though.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was impressed
You
with
know,
just being able to do it. Boom.
You
can all
can do it.
with no help. That's a wonderful song to make you crazy and practice your brains out.
Well,
It's real.
it's not,
But
it's
it-
hard to play it fast.
No. It's wonderful.
It's hard. Okay. What is the arrow
The
supposed
name of the
to
title
indicate?
again, please?
All right.
Sleigh Ride.
All right,
Me
Brenda,
right.
the arrow when I put an arrow on when I use a little arrow to put on a note, that just means that it's unconventional fingering. I'm just answering a chat. That's just Dawn's notation to say, watch your fingering here. It's not, hi Brenda, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. It might be a 1 to a 4 instead of a 1 to a 2. So it might be just an unconventional fingering. Heads up, keep an eye open. It's strange fingering, but try it. And I always have you do my fingering in pencil because sometimes your fingers don't want to do what mine do, and that's absolutely okay.
Joyful. Merry Christmas.
All right. Anybody else want to say anything before we end today? Yeah.
That was a great class, Dawn. That was very good.
Dawn, what is your email address?
Email address 5028
I think
at
I have it memorized.
FletcherMusic.com.
Okay, thank you.
I-
It's my
Join
fault. I still don't have that title down. What's the name of the title?
What's
Sleigh
that? Oh, we're going to do Sleigh Ride next week.
Oh, Sleigh Ride.
Sleigh Ride. Yeah, Sleigh
All right, I got
Ride.
that.
Yeah, and we won't play it that fast. We can play it slower. I'll just give you some tricks and tips on how to get it under your fingers. And actually, if you memorize it, and if you do feel like memorizing it, you just got to take it apart in sections. Practicing, same thing. We're just going to take it apart in sections. In sections. We'll do it.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, blame Joe.
I'm gonna have more trouble than anybody. You kidding? My finger's atrocious.
It is. But it's so, you can play Silent Night, but try this one. You go crazy, but it's
Yeah.
wonderful. And,
It's
and
like-
even a little bit that
Oh
you
my
played
God,
was
I love
great. That
Well,
was great.
Joe, you better be here next week.
Pardon? You're not going to be here next week?
No, Joe, you better be
Oh.
here next week.
Oh.
Yeah, we can always do What Child Is This, which is the polar opposite of that song.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good song too. Yeah. I actually wanted to play that in concert yesterday, and then Joe Fontesha called it first, so he got to play it.
Oh,
So I played Away in a
Silver,
Manger.
Silver.
Did they record that, Dawn?
Now, it is recorded, but it is not going to YouTube. So if you absolutely want to see it again, shoot me an email and I'll forward it to you. Now, Joe, you missed the concert. That was supposed to be your concert, so I will be very happy to forward it to you. But there's a
Yeah.
concert on Easy 4, Freedom 3, and Easy 10. So for most of you, it's not going to probably catch your interest because you all have the larger instruments. Not all of you, but some of you have the larger instruments. So again, they separated everybody into 4 groups according to the size of your instrument. Okay, and then you have an email a link to go to the concert that's appropriate for your organ. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
for
got that.
Christmas, yeah, yep. I never thought in a million years I'd still be Zooming, but you know what? It's okay. I love it.
It is
I-
kind of
I
very
love it.
helpful.
Wonderful that
It's
we can
fun.
do it.
It is fun. Oh, yes.
The
Yep.
best job of anyone.
No.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank
so
you,
much,
guys.
Dawn.
You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. You're
Have
awesome.
a great
Thank-
weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good
Bye,
week.
everybody.
There's no
Bye.
concert this afternoon, right?
There's no what?
No concert this afternoon.
There
No.
is.
Typical.
There is, but it's for a different organ.
Ah.
It's for
Everything.
this again. It's for mid-size organs. Yeah. So no concert for everybody this afternoon. Yep.
For the size of the wallet, right?
Nah.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, David.